All right, baby.
Okay.
So I want to share a quote with you that I heard, and I want your thoughts on it.
Okay.
All right. So Tony Robbins said that if you want to change your relationship, you have to change you first.
Okay.
My question is, do you agree with that?
Do I agree with it?
If you want to change your relationship, you have to change you first.
I think I partially agree with it.
Okay.
And do you hear your kids singing?
I think our baby girl is singing in the shower. We're going to keep that in there.
Okay. So I think I partially agree with it. And I say that because in a relationship is more than just me in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So any changes that I would need to make, I would need to include you in those changes.
Mm-hmm.
I would need to first figure out what my role is. If the relationship is going bad, if it's going good, what's my role in the relationship and how can I improve it from my level?
Yeah.
And then the other person has to do the same too, because if I'm the only one changing to help the relationship, then there could also still be no change because the other person needs to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's important is both people realizing what their role is in the relationship, whether it's going good or bad, and figure out how you can improve on that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see your opinion.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
Looking for it?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Sometimes you gotta look up there and see.
I'm gonna say that I agree with it. However, I gotta put some background around it.
Okay.
I think that is a very true statement, but only when it's with two people who are both genuinely in the relationship. For two people who know that this is where they want to be and are completely committed to the relationship and becoming better together. In the context of that, I think that is completely true.
Yeah.
And I say that because, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out here who are together that probably shouldn't be together.
Okay.
So that's why I want to put that context behind it. Now, having said that, I do wholeheartedly believe that if you want to change a relationship, you have to change you first. And I say that because I know that the best way to get the best out of my wife is to serve her at the highest level. If I make you feel loved, if I make you feel cared for by doing the things that I know do that for you, learning to listen to you, learning to receive feedback from you, and giving you what you need as my wife, and also making sure that I'm taking care of me and becoming the best version of me, I know that the byproduct of that, because of what our relationship is, that will change our relationship, because I know that when my wife is cared for, I, as a byproduct, will also be cared for. And so now that I'm meeting your needs, I know that my needs will also get met because I know the character and the heart of my wife. So with the context of understanding the quality of the relationship between the two people, I think that is completely true.
Right.
And the best thing that I can do to get the best out of my wife is to create an environment where she feels completely taken care of, loved, served, cared for, and all of those things that allow her to be able to do the same thing for me as a husband who I know means so much to her. So that's my thoughts on that.
I think I think you adding that context is very, very good. I think that in a lot of DMs we've gotten, I don't think that is true. Like from a lot of people, like we've helped through, it's like, y'all should, like you said, y'all probably shouldn't be together, because the quote is what? You change yourself first and you can change your relationship. How did the quote go?
Yeah. It says that if you want to change your relationship, change you first. Yeah.
And we've heard stories of people changing themselves. And sometimes when you say change yourself, what does change yourself even look like? Because you can be changing yourself into somebody that you might be happy with, but the other person isn't happy with. Or you could be changing yourself into into something that's not actually beneficial for the relationship because you both aren't talking about the change.
Right.
So I think it's very important for both people to be included in what that change looks like. What are you changing for? Mm-hmm. What direction are you going into? Why is this change even necessary?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in our story, of course, that makes sense. Like, we've done it over and over again, changed ourselves, and it made our relationships better. Our relationship better, but we also keep each other included. Mm-hmm. But in the DMs that we've gotten, I don't think that advice or that quote is actually realistic for a lot of relationships these days.
Because context matters.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Like context really matters. And if you don't know the quality of the relationship, something like that could go south real fast.
And that's why you have to pay attention to stuff like that and see if it applies to you or not. Mm-hmm. Because applying that in our relationship, absolutely, but applying it somewhere else might not be the best.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that how you start in a relationship genuinely matters so much. Mm-hmm. And getting with somebody to where it's so much more than just the physical aspect. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the downfalls of so many relationships today is that people are so short-sighted when they're looking for a partner. Mm-hmm. They're looking for somebody that makes them happy in the moment rather than thinking about who is somebody who I can see me investing my life into, somebody who I can see myself building a life with that actually adds value to me and I want to add value to them.
Right.
Somebody who makes me want to be better as a person and somebody who I can pour into and make them feel the same. Because if you can think about this thing on a 30, 40, 50-year horizon, your decisions start to get that much more intentional because you're thinking about it from a long-term perspective rather than, oh, she fine, she bad or whatever. Like, I want to be with her. I want all my homies, to look at my wife and be like, dang, bro, you got that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
But it's as shallow as that sounds, that's how a lot of people go about it. Oh, this person is beautiful. They look good or whatever. And they make me feel good in these happy moments. Right. Well, unfortunately, life ain't going to always be happy. You're going to go through some down moments. You're going to go through some traumatic experiences, whatever. And you need to have somebody who you care about enough to be able to grow through all of those different situations with, who you know is still going to be there and show up with you with the same level of love and intention.
Right.
That matters.
It does.
And so when you talk about changing yourself to change a relationship, you have to think about the long-term value of the person in your life and why you're making those changes.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
Exactly.
Because you do that with the wrong person, that's going south real quick. And you got to think about, we've said this before in a previous episode, sometimes changing yourself is elevating yourself in a certain way. That might be how you show up emotionally. That might be what you do as far as caring for your person. It could be intimacy. It could be so many different things.
Yeah.
So when you start talking about change, you have to get really specific about what that is.
Yeah. And even like with what you said sometimes, you can change with the wrong person. But I think sometimes if you change with the right person, it can still go the wrong way because you're not communicating that. And now they're looking at you like, okay, well, why are you doing this differently? What's going on? Why are you acting this way? You know what I'm saying? Because you're not being included.
Not communicating.
And that's why it's important to talk about these changes with each other. Like if you want to change to make the relationship better, you're not the only one in the relationship. So they need to know why you're doing this thing, and you need to figure out how they feel about this change.
Yeah.
When you're with somebody, it is important for you to consider their feelings when you're making certain changes. It just is what it is. If you want to be with somebody, you got to be considerate. Period.
Big facts.
Yeah. So.
Listen, and just, it's so much value, man, just in including one another.
Yeah.
And being intentional about the person you have in your life and how you want to show up for them. And making sure that you guys are actually there with one another throughout all of the different changes and phases of life.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying? Because can be great advice for the right people.
Yes.
And that's one of them things, man, that people got to learn. No matter how good something sounds, because Tony Robbins, that dude.
He is.
He's really that dude. You know what I mean?
Right.
But sometimes even the best information does not work out well for people who may not be in the best situation. So you have to be in an environment or a situation where the information itself can be useful to you and be able to honestly ask yourself that question. Can I, in my current situation, make this useful? And if not, how can I get to a place to where this information can be useful to me?
Right. And sometimes advice is just too far. It's too advanced.
It's too far ahead of you.
It's too advanced, because the advice the advice we would give right now, I would not give to myself 5 years ago.
Wouldn't be ready for
like
it.
I wouldn't be ready to take on that responsibility, period. So just knowing where, like you said, knowing where you are in your relationship and knowing when to apply something and when not to. And sometimes you can apply it, but you got to apply it in a way that works best for you. You got to take out the fluff and just figure out, okay, well, this makes me think this way. So how can I apply this so it can make my relationship better?
Right.
Because it may not be you applying that exact advice, but whatever your interpretation of it is.
Yeah.
But it still needs to be communicated.
And in your own context.
Yes.
Like, how can you make it useful for you?
Yes.
Man, that's game. Hey, man, I hope y'all got some value out of that. This was a quick episode.
Yeah.
Where we just wanted to talk about that. But if you got some real value out of that, please let us know. Again, thank you guys for spending this time with us. My name is John Trone. This is my beautiful queen.
Adoria.
We are one dope couple. And please do like, comment, and subscribe to wherever you're listening to us at, be it YouTube or whatever your favorite podcasting platform. Let us know, man, if you're enjoying the show. And until next time, family, peace and love.